A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a significant gathering of international ministers at a United Nations conference, the global community has united to advocate for a two-state solution to the long-standing Israeli-Palestinian conflict. This pivotal event, held in the backdrop of escalating tensions and violence, has seen participation from various nations, although notably absent are representatives from the United States and Israel, who have chosen to boycott the proceedings. The UN General Assembly had previously mandated this conference to take place in 2025, with France and Saudi Arabia stepping up to host the event. However, the conference was postponed earlier this year following Israel's military actions against Iran, highlighting the fragile state of regional relations. Saudi Foreign Minister Prince Faisal bin Farhan Al Saud opened the conference with a fervent call for international collaboration, urging nations to support a comprehensive roadmap that would lead to the establishment of a Palestinian state, while also ensuring the security of Israel. In his remarks, United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres emphasized the need for this conference to transcend mere rhetoric, stating, "We must ensure that it does not become another exercise in well-meaning rhetoric. It can and must serve as a decisive turning point, one that catalyzes irreversible progress towards ending the occupation and realizing our shared aspiration for a viable two-state solution." French Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot echoed these sentiments, asserting that a political two-state solution is the only viable path forward for both Israelis and Palestinians to achieve peace and security. He underscored the urgency of addressing the ongoing conflict in Gaza, which poses a threat to regional stability. In a bold move, French President Emmanuel Macron recently announced France's intention to recognize a Palestinian state during the upcoming annual gathering of world leaders at the UN General Assembly in September. Palestinian Prime Minister Mohammed Mustafa, addressing the conference, called on all nations to recognize the state of Palestine without delay, emphasizing the collective responsibility to act in the face of ongoing violence. The conference takes place amid the backdrop of a brutal conflict that has persisted for over 21 months, following a deadly attack by Hamas on southern Israel in October 2023, which resulted in significant casualties and hostages. According to Israeli statistics, the attack claimed the lives of at least 1,200 people, while health authorities in Gaza report that over 59,000 Palestinians, primarily women and children, have been killed as a result of Israel's military response. Despite mounting international pressure to halt the violence, the absence of the US and Israel from the conference raises questions about the feasibility of achieving a two-state solution. The US State Department has dismissed the event as unproductive and ill-timed, labeling it a publicity stunt that could hinder peace efforts. Furthermore, the US criticized Macron's pledge to recognize a Palestinian state as counterproductive. In a hopeful gesture, Prince Faisal expressed his belief that US President Donald Trump's involvement could serve as a catalyst for resolving the immediate crisis in Gaza and potentially pave the way for a long-term resolution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The UN has long championed the vision of two states coexisting within secure and recognized borders, with Palestinians seeking a state encompassing the occupied West Bank, East Jerusalem, and the Gaza Strip. The UN General Assembly's overwhelming support for a Palestinian bid for full membership last year, despite a US veto in the Security Council, reflects the growing global consensus on the need for Palestinian statehood. In the midst of the conference, India also voiced its support for a two-state solution, emphasizing the importance of purposeful dialogue and diplomacy. India's permanent representative to the UN, Ambassador Purvathaneni Harish, highlighted the necessity of actionable steps towards achieving peace and urged the international community to remain committed to practical solutions that improve the lives of Palestinians. He reiterated India's historical support for Palestinian statehood and called for immediate humanitarian assistance to Gaza, stressing that civilians must have access to essential resources without political interference. As the humanitarian crisis in Gaza deepens, with tens of thousands reported dead and countless others displaced, India underscored the urgency of addressing the needs of those affected by the conflict. The situation remains dire, with medical facilities destroyed and children deprived of education for over 20 months. The conference represents a crucial opportunity for the international community to come together and reaffirm its commitment to finding a lasting resolution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. However, with key players absent and the conflict ongoing, the path to a two-state solution appears increasingly fraught with challenges. The world watches closely as this diplomatic effort unfolds, hopeful that it may lead to meaningful progress in a region long plagued by violence and division. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.